From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Altaji. It's Friday, May 23rd. Here are today's headlines. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said on Thursday that he has no interest in being re-elected as president. State news agency Anadolu reported Mr. Erdogan told journalists on the plane after visiting Hungary, quote, "We want the new constitution not for ourselves, but for our country. I have no interest in being re-elected or becoming a candidate again," unquote. The remarks came as Erdogan pushes for moves to change the country's constitution to create what he described as a civilian framework.
He framed this in the context of Turkey's current constitution dating back to the 1980s and was ratified after a military coup at that time. And he said this needs to be replaced with a civilian constitution.
The National's Lizzie Porter reports.
There's been a lot of talk in Turkey in recent years about Mr. Erdogan wanting to make changes to the constitution in order so that he can run for a third term as president. In making these remarks today, he seems to be saying that he has no interest in doing that. He's made similar remarks to this before and has said, I don't want to run. On the other hand, he has also said, yeah, maybe I will run again. So it's always a bit difficult to read what he says. And we also have to bear in mind that the next presidential elections are not scheduled until 2028. So there is a lot of time between now and then, and things could change again.
Erdogan has served as Turkey's president since 2014. His ruling Justice and Development Party, known as AKP, swept to power more than 2 decades ago and sought to develop Turkey's infrastructure and economy. Erdogan became popular among pious Muslims who saw him as pushing back against limitations on religious expression imposed by previous governments. But in recent years, he and the party have faced increasing opposition amid economic troubles and high inflation.
The European Gaza hospital, the hospital I was working at, was bombed not once, but repeatedly.
That's the voice of Majid Jaber, a doctor in Gaza. He worked at the neonatal intensive care unit at the European hospital in Khan Yunis before it was bombed by the Israeli army on May 13th. He's among doctors in Gaza who've described feeling helpless amid Israel's continuing attacks on medical centers and a lack of medical supplies. It's the result of a now 11-week blockade on the entry of aid.
This is not only physical destruction, it is emotional annihilation. It's very devastating what we're witnessing. And still we're trying to do what we can, but we're very limited. The problem is not skill, it's not knowledge, just the facilities, the tools we need, the medicine.
The hospital's infrastructure is largely destroyed, and the doctors there have no access to supplies or medication, as Israeli troops and army vehicles remained stationed outside. Gaza's health ministry has reported at least 57 child deaths from malnutrition since the blockade began on March 2nd. The UN's humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher warned on Tuesday that thousands of babies could die soon without immediate intervention. These babies need special formula to provide them with the nutrition they require, but it's expensive and almost non-existent in the Gaza Strip. Israel on Monday announced that it was allowing the resumption of aid deliveries after facing mounting pressure from its allies over the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. But the UN and aid agencies say only about 100 lorries carrying aid have entered the territory since then, and none of it has reached Gazans yet. Abu Dhabi artificial intelligence company G42 has teamed up with tech giants to create a major AI hub in the Emirate. OpenAI, Oracle, and NVIDIA are all on the roster to build up Stargate UAE, a 1-gigawatt compute cluster. The National's Alvin Cabral is here to explain what that means.
Now, just to get this out of the way, compute in AI is, in the simplest terms, the resources or components needed to make AI systems work, including model training and the hardware and software needed for its deployment and infrastructure. Now, this is a major step in the UAE and Abu Dhabi's push to become a major player in technology. The fact that Abu Dhabi continues to forge partnerships in building such huge-scale hubs in tandem with other partnerships spearheaded by its biggest industry players and investment firms is a big vote of confidence in the Emirates' expertise and potential.
The project is also in cooperation with Cisco and Japan's SoftBank Group. It'll operate in the UAE USAI campus that was established during U.S. President Donald Trump's recent visit to the UAE. G42 said the launch of Stargate UAE is a, quote, significant step, unquote, in the tech partnership between the UAE and the U.S. That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get these stories and follow live updates at our site. Yasmin Altaji, The National.